Hello listeners, viewers, my dear students, welcome to my channel Bhat Rafi's lectures. My name is Bhat Rafi. I am lecturer in zoology subjects and my YouTube channel, which I have already told. Today's my topic is adolescence. Most important topic for class 12 students. It's a science and art subjects also. So first, let us begin the topic adolescence. First we define the adolescence. The adolescence, the transition period of physical and mental developments, which occurs between childhood and adulthood, or simply period of life between the childhood and adulthood. It is a period of life from puberty to maturity. It is the period of life from puberty to maturity. It starts at end of the puberty. In adolescence, it is the transition period of physical and mental development which occurs between the childhood and adulthood. It is the period of life from puberty to maturity. It starts at end of the puberty. It is a period of life from puberty to maturity. It starts at the end of puberty. The changes status are completed during the adolescence. In the adolescence is the period of growth, physical and mental development, from onset of puberty to the completion of growth and maturity. It extends between the approximate age 8 to 18 years for girls, 8 to 18 years for girls, and 9 to 19 years for boys. And provides a transition from childhood to adulthood. It is the period of rapid physical and psychological changes. And we call it is the stress and strain age. It is the stress and strain age, and is storm age. It is the stress and strain age and strife and storm age. Strife and storm age, and is also called the vulnerable age or juvenile age. It is a Latin word, allostere, means to grow up into maturity. It is a Greek word, means to grow up into maturity. Greek word means to grow up into maturity. The time period between the beginning of puberty and adulthood. If you go for puberty, the age at which sex hormones, gametes begin to be produced and the boys and girls become sexually mature is called puberty. It starts boys 13 to 14 years, 13 to 14 years for boys, and girls 10 to 12 years for girls. Puberty is a phase of life in which reproductive organs matured and secondary sexual characteristics make their appearance. It is the age about 10 to 14 years. The stage of puberty ends with the first menstrual cycle in females and with the spermatogenesis in males. The end of puberty is followed by the beginning of the adolescence. During the puberty, both male and female experiencing changes. Some of these changes are common both male and female, while other are different in various changes. Other are different. You all know that adolescence is the time when lot of changes takes place in the bodies of boys and girls, which make their reproductive system mature. The period of a person when the body undergo a lot of leading to reproductive maturity, we call it the adolescence. Some changes takes place between the male and female when they both attain the adolescence puberty age. First we describe the male changes takes place in male during the puberty, during the adolescence. Your all first point is the testes and estetive male organs increase in size. Testes and male estetive organs increase in size. And second point is the of male change. Testes start sperms. Testes start sperms. In a spermatogenesis takes place. Spermatogenesis means the formation of sperms. Third change takes place during the adolescence of male, or third change or sexual desire begins. Sexual desire means that attraction between the opposite sexes. And another point is the occasional emission of penis. Sexual desire begins, occasional erection of penis. Occasional erection of penis. An occasional erection of penis. This is another change. Another change is the emission of seminal fluid takes place. An emission of seminal fluid or night emission takes place in the male during when he attains the age of adolescence, puberty. And another change is the body wires become thick and coarse. And another change is the beard and mustaches grow in axillary hairs, pubic hairs, and other private body hairs appear to grow in the genital hairs. And another is that they gain height and weight. Another point is the male hormones, androgen and testosterone are formed. Androgen and testosterone are formed. Another change takes place in male or enlarged and stronger bone and muscles. Another change takes place in male during this stage, during the puberty age, is the penis and testes become larger. Testes start to make sperms. Shoulder becomes broader than hips. This is the another change. These are the changes in male. Now we go for the changes takes place in female. Changes takes place in female during when they attain the age of puberty or adolescence. First change which takes place in female is breast development. In a breast development, enlargement of breast. Enlargement of breasts. When breast development takes place. And second point is that in male, female sex hormones Estrogen, and progesterones are hormone. Estrogen and progesterones are hormone. And the change is attraction towards the opposite sex. Attraction towards the opposite sex increases. And another change is skin frequently become oil and might begin to develop pimples in the faces. And uterus and ovaries expand. The nipples at the tip of the breast darken. Another change takes place is voice becomes melodious. Pubic hair appears on the new parts of the body, genital hairs, private body parts, hairs grow. And another point is the thinner hair can also appear in the legs, arms, and on the face. Gain weight and height. Another is the hip broader. Another point is the fat start depositing, giving the round curve to the body. These are the changes in male and female during when they reach the adolescence. You all know that the adolescence in male growth, in adolescence age, in male growth continue and the muscle bulk increase. These excess increase in hair growth on the face and hormone and hair grow on the chest also. Hair also grow on the chest also. In the female, although menstrual cycle becomes regular and evolution sets in, the occur further growth of the breasts. In both the sexes, the psychological, emotional conflicts of the puberty are slowly resolved during the adolescence. You all know that adolescence is the period between childhood and adulthood, which I have already told, which begins with the first sign of puberty, age 9 to 10 years for girls and 10 to 11 years for boys, and ends with the development of complete sexual maturity, 18 years for boy, 19 years for the girls. 18 years for girls and 19 years for boys. It is the period of all turbulence, physical, psychological, physiological, and learning. There is an accelerated physical growth, development of the reproductive organs, appearance of the external sexual traits, change in the functioning of the neuroendocrine system. The hormones including sex hormones are produced in increasing quantity. It results in frequent shifts of moods, emotions. This is the time when the adolescent begins to self-absorb, egocentrism, searching for self-identity, self-esteem, self-respect, while the adult considers them to be too young for allowing them the freedom of action. In this state of stress and conflicts, the adolescent has to adjust socially inside the family, with peer group in the school, elders, youngers, and friends. There are numerous failings and pitfalls. However, moral reasonings is found in all the adolescents, regardless of the religion, culture, and society. It helps them to come out of the conflict and become responsible citizens. Counseling in schools and at homes is extremely helpful. So, some health problems which suffered during the age of adolescence in some adolescent people. Those which have not home guidance, awareness at homes, look after at homes. First problem is the hypochondria. Hypochondria, I am discussing here the health problem of adolescents. First is the hypochondria. It is related to anxiety, psychosomatic disorder. It is commonly present in adolescents, particularly late developers who become undue concerned about health. Second point is the loneliness. Loneliness means most substance abuse begins in adolescence. It includes smoking, drinking, drug use. Substance abuse is the major factor in school failure, accidental injury, depression, sexual proximity, and AIDS transmission. And educating adolescents about the dangers of addiction can help reduce or eliminate the substance abuse. Medical help can also be taken if necessary. Another health problem is the violence. Violence is a part of everyday life for many adolescents. There are often quarrels at playgrounds, traffic jams, conflicts, fears, sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. This is common in adolescents. This effect abuse include the poor performance in the cause depression, anxiety, and the headache. And the problem is, this problem suffered in the females, pregnancies. Most dangerous problem in female adolescents, pregnancies. Primordial sexual intercourse. In a before marriage, sexual intercourse is on rise among the adolescents, which is against our all religions. In good many cases, no contraceptive are used. This results in unwanted pregnancies. In fact, many adolescents are ignorant of reproductive anatomy, how pregnancy occurs, and use of contraceptives. Emotional crisis occurs and use of contraceptives. Emotional crisis occur when pregnancy is diagnosed and decision have an abortion is made. In a final is when the pregnancy takes place, the decision is to make abortion. The pregnant girls tend to give up education and suffers from loss of self-esteem. In a pregnant girls often visit illegal abortion clinics to hide their action and put their life in great risk. Very young pregnant teenagers have higher incidence of anemia. You all know that anemia and other health problems than those in the 20s. And their babies are premature. Underweight, and often have respiratory infections, respiratory problems. Frequently, the father fails to provide emotional and financial support for the child, and sometimes refuses to own the baby, so the single mother have a tough life. The adolescents may seek information about the pregnancy and use of contraceptive from family planning centers or physicians. Another problem of adolescents is the STD. STD stands for sexually transmitted disease, or AIDS. And second is gonorrhea. And third is syphilis. It is etc. There are so many sexually transmitted diseases. The disease which are transferred from one person to another person through sexual intercourse. Million adolescents contacts sexually transmitted each year. Sexually transmitted or transmitted by sexual intercourse with affected persons. So, we always should avoid the sexual intercourse through multiple sexual partners. Because this disease separates through the sexual intercourse, it also separates through the infected needle. If we use the needle from infected person to normal person, if we go for transfusion of blood, there are so many mode of transmission. But man is the sexual intercourse. So we should always avoid the multiply, and we should aware our adolescents at home. This is not good in our religion to do these bad activities. Another problem is the obesity. You all know that obesity is the common in rich families, and abused adolescents is likely to have a poor self-image and become sedentary, socially isolated. So we should give them the remedies. Always, anybody who have obesity, make the exercise, regular exercise, morning and evening, swimming, cycling, and use the regular food, non-excess overeating. And she should not go the overeating. He or she should not go the overeating. And the problem of the adolescents is depression and suicide. Depression and suicide. You all know that depression and suicide. Depression is the symptom or common in adolescents. Its symptoms include sad and unhappy parents. Family and school environment should be evaluated to identify the stress, to find the cause of the stress, to find the cause of the sadness. Effort should be made to remove the cause of the stress of the adolescents. The parents, school authority should be very much vigilant for this. These are our responsibility. And the problem is the suicide. Suicide is the main problem. Is also the increase in the adolescents. The adolescents get failed, they get discouraged, they get instead in the home or family, they go for this suicide. And the problem is the phobia, fear. Our adolescents have sort of fear. Fear means different kinds of fear may be observed in adolescents. Fear from creeping, crawling of animals, snakes, spiders, lizards, or situation like crowded places, vast open places, closed confinements, and accidental injury. And the problem is the neurasthenia. Neurasthenia means some adolescents may experience neurasthenia, inability to concentrate or enjoy things. This may lead to headache, depression, fatigue, and irritability. So dear students, audience, we should always take keen watch to our youth, to our adolescents at home, and guide them and aware them that failure is not final. And we quote the other example to him. So dear students, rest is okay. Thank you all.